Hello everyone and welcome to today's very large haul. You won't be able to see it this angle, but it is all stacked in front of me and we've got a lot to go through. So this is technically my haul for September. September haul feels a lot bigger than my monthly hauls usually do because I had planned to try and do a collection tour at some point in September, so when I have a collection tour coming up, I let myself open parcels that come in instead of saving them for an unboxing. So there's a few things in here from like World of Books and Books Please and Blackwell's that I did open when they arrived, but usually I would have held off on opening those for another video. Do bear with me today, I am a little under the weather. I have 3 bottles of water next to me and hopefully that'll keep me going through this. Just before I get started, if you haven't already, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for lots of manga content. The October haul is probably going to be on its way soon, considering it is actually the end of October right now. Plus I have shopping videos and a collection tour coming in the next couple of months for sure, and some absolute super bangers coming in November. Do not miss out on those, so subscribe. Also don't forget to check out my social media and affiliate links found down below. It does seem at the beginning of this video we're going to have some calm from the cats that keep interrupting my previous videos because they're both asleep. They are both asleep in this room. There's one there and there's one there. Had a lot of comments saying they can't wait to see more cats. Don't worry, you will. They follow me around, so whenever I'm filming they're just pretty much milling around, especially when I'm holding and moving things. They want to sniff everything. They've been pretty good. They've not tried to chew manga yet. They've tried to chew a couple of plastic wrap things. Let us not dawdle any longer. Let's get onto the haul. Okay, so first off on top we have Apothecary Diaries Volume 6. Who doesn't enjoy Apothecary Diaries? It's so much fun. We learnt a lot about our main character in this volume, which I quite enjoyed, and I love the mysteries. The mysteries are just always really good and interesting, and I do like just how a bit batshit insane the main character is. Is it Meow Meow? Meow Meow? Meow Meow? Always a pleasure to get a new volume of this. Might not be able to see some of the first volumes I placed, but I am going to stack them on there, just the sofas covering them. Okay, next we have Beastars 19. I feel by the time I manage to fill the gaps I have in Beastars, the whole series is going to be out. If you are new to the channel, I have had some real problems trying to pick up some earlier volumes of Beastars that I'd been missing. The wonderful Geeky Dreams found one of the volumes I was missing, and I'm now just missing one more before I have a clear run. Though there are 22 volumes in the series, so I'm not actually that far to being complete. They're not all out yet though. I mean, when I picked this up, that was the newest out. I think 20 is out now as well. So yeah, I'm gonna hold off even if I do manage to find my missing volume and just binge. As we have Bite Maker Volume 5. What wonderful hot trash this is. This is one of those Alpha Omega verse sort of stories where the alphas are all revered and everyone loves them, and then we have this Omega that is destined to mate with them, I think. This main character tried to do not nice things to her, which she didn't consent to, but she kind of did. As I think it's all a bit iffy when it comes to Omegaverse, which is all it's so questionable, but I do enjoy it. It is good hot trash. I enjoy hot trash on occasion. All the dudettes like talking about this one. I like they've stepped up. He's no longer covered in mustard, he's covered in like guacamole, all the condiments. Okay, next we have volumes 3 and 4 of Blackguard. I have read volumes 1 and 2. I believe it is complete at 5. I actually wasn't that keen on volumes 1 and 2. It just wasn't for me. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't get it. It was fine. But at 5 volumes, and I like seeing series completion. I like to see a story conclude, even if it's not necessarily a story that I love. I know a lot of people, if they're not into it, they drop it. I don't like to do that. I like to complete something. Otherwise it nags on my head. As we have Blue Period Volume 8. Oh no, it's creased. Did I do that? I must have done that. Oh no, look what I did. I'm such an idiot. How did I do that? I must have just caught it when I was putting it back on the shelf. Dang, I need to be more careful. Anyway, we have Blue Period Volume 8. I do enjoy the series, but it's quite heavy. I often struggle to read it in one go. It's not heavy, I don't think necessarily equals bad. It just There's a lot of dialogue, it's a lot very emotional, quite heavy, hits you in the heart. I don't even care that much about art, it's not my sort of thing. I'm not that interested, but I have enjoyed this and seen the perspective of people who are interested. It's like that. It almost doesn't matter if you're not interested in the topic. Talking to someone who is interested and is like deeply invested in it is always really interesting. Next we have Booty Royale, Never Go Down Without Fight, second Omni volumes 3 to 4. This is probably one of the most degenerate series I've ever read. I would never recommend this to someone. Yeah, I think probably one of the most disturbing scenes I read was in the first Omni of this. This has been surprisingly hard to pick up. It seemed to go out of stock really quickly. I did see it did pop back up on Books Please, so I did nab it, and with the 10% off I actually got it for a decent price. It does pain me how pricey 7 Seas Omnis are compared to a lot of other publishers. Apparently the series is ending because the author's family doesn't approve of the story. I don't think I'm that surprised. As we have By the Grace of the Gods Volume 5, I haven't read this one, but I have read 1 to 4. It is an isekai where guy's been reincarnated into the body of a kid and is very OP. Yeah, it's actually like quite a few series I've read actually. This one is quite chill. If you want a chill kind of isekai, I'd recommend probably a series like this. Not a huge amount happens, there isn't a huge amount at stake. He's living in a forest on his own for so many years as a child, and then he kind of gets picked up by another family who sort of like will look after you, and he's like, no, I'll travel on my own, but I'll travel you for a bit. Also another isekai where he commands a serious army of slimes. I think there's like 3 or 4 of those right now. Like My Isekai Life is another one I've been reading where he has an army of slimes. It's definitely one where I'd even consider waiting till it's cheaper than 3 for 2 to pick up if you're interested. There is also a light novel, but it is a lot longer, I think, like 8 or 9 light novels maybe. Chained Soldier Volume 1. As you can see, I have not read this yet. I picked it up and then I saw a lot of people saying like it was fine on Instagram and YouTube, and I was like, oh, okay. And I've just then not picked it up to read it. I will do Cheeky Brat Volumes 3 and 4. So I think this series is okay. It's not one that I'd like go out of my way to like recommend or even immediately read, because I've still not read volumes 3 and 4. I picked up volume 3 secondhand for about £5, and I got volume 4 on Books Please for probably about £6 something actually. I cannot tell a lie. One of the reasons I decided I wanted to jump back into picking these up was because I realised that they had a lovely sort of pastel colour going on the spine. So volumes 1 and 2 are orange and yellow, and then 3 and 4 are green and blue. I know that's a terrible reason to pick up a manga, but I don't care. Next we have Clockwork Planet Volume 4. So the Clockwork Planet series is 10 volumes long, and the entire rest of the volumes I picked up secondhand. But I have not been able to find volume 4 secondhand, or when I did, it was like £11 plus, and it's secondhand, I'm not paying that. So after many months, I gave in and bought the volume that was still sitting on the shelves at Forbidden Planet in Leeds. So it was £11.99, but as part of 3 for 2, it would have been about £7 something. Oh, I hadn't realised, from the creator of No Game No Life. I didn't know that. Finally, I can actually try and read this. Next we have Cross-Dressing Villainess Cecilia Sylvie, Volume 2. This is a reverse harem isekai villainess series, which is like, oh, some of my favourite things ever. She is inadvertently getting closer and closer to all of the love interests, not realising that now she's kind of a different person. They're all in love with her now, but she just assumes I'm the villainess, they all must hate me and I'm gonna die still. But also, most of them apart from her stepbrother think that she's actually a dude still, because she's cross-dressing to try and save her life. And there's lots of confused feelings, and I just really, really like it. It is quite nice artwork. Very, very light and airy. Very shoujo-y. Ooh. Next we have Days on Vest Volumes 3, 4, and 5. I think I picked these up all on separate shopping trips or ordered separately, but they were all in the month of September, so they're all together. I believe it's just about people who like festivals and go to festivals. Or is there a particular festival that they go to? I'll find out when I get to it. When I realised it was 5 volumes, I decided to not read volumes 1 and 2 immediately, which was my plan, and to wait till I had them all and just read them all together. Next, we have 4 volumes of Dead Demons Destruction, volumes 3, 4, 5, and 11. So the reason I've got 3, 4, 5, 11 was I had been trying to pick them up in order, and then one of the times I went manga shopping I couldn't get my spreadsheet to open and I was very annoyed. And I needed one more volume to make a 3 for 2, and this was in the price bracket that I needed, and I knew I hadn't been picking up the later volume, so I grabbed a later one knowing I wouldn't have it, hence why I have a bit of a gap. At this point, since I do already have half the series and I'll probably try and pick up the other half before Christmas, I'm going to hold off and read it all in one go. I think, is it finished printing in English? There's only a volume or 2 more if it hasn't, so I won't have to wait too much longer to read it anyway. And I quite like the spines. It is hard to get stuff on that pile. Okay, we have a big stack of volumes for this series, and we have Descending Stories, volumes 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is, oh, it's heavy, I'm putting it down. I'll hold one of the volumes up. Which one do I think has a nice cover? Oh, I quite like 4. I'll hold 4 up. So apart from volume 7, the rest I picked up on Blackwell's for the I think less than £6 each, or £6 or less, which is pretty good considering it sells for £11.99 in Forbidden Planet, so it was about £1 or 2 cheaper a volume. And then I picked up volume 7 in Forbidden Planet. I am missing 2 volumes before I'm complete. Unfortunately, one of them is volume 1 and volume 3, and then I'm complete. Neither of those volumes were in Forbidden Planet, otherwise I'd probably have picked them up as well. I don't really know a whole lot about this series, except I've seen good things, and also it's a josei series, and the number of josei series in my collection is unfortunately quite low. But I don't think that's a me not trying to pick up josei series. I think that's they're lacking in English print issue more than anything. I would love to hear any josei suggestions you have in English print that's not horrendous to find in the comments down below. Yeah, I think I have like 40 something josei and then 200, 300 shonen seinen and 100 and something shoujo. Yeah, I'm not interested in anything out of print or hard to find, and English print, not really much for a digital reader. Okay, we have done 1 of 5 stacks, so maybe I need to get a bit more of a move on. As we have Don't Toy With Me, Miss Negatora volume 12. I picked this up in Forbidden Planet. In hindsight, I regret that because Blackwell's always seem to drop these volumes discounted at some point. At the moment, I think this volume's up there for like $6.99, which is cheaper than Forbidden Planet. I really like how vibrant these spines are. I still haven't started reading past volume 1. I didn't overly enjoy volume 1. It felt very nasty. A lot of people say it gets a lot better, and she takes a chill pill after that though. Next we have Dora Dora volume 13, which is one of 2 volumes that I am missing in this series. So I have a complete run between 1 and 22. Just need 23 to get reprints and I'll be dancing. I am absolutely holding off reading this though until I do find it. I mean, it took me like a year and a half to find volumes 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I don't really want to get too into it and then I have to stop just before the end. Next we have the Dragon Knight's Beloved, which has a cat hair in it. Volume 3. This has been a light-hearted fantasy romance. I wasn't actually too keen on volume 1. I found it really boring and I didn't like any of the characters. I liked volume 2 way more. So hopefully volume 3 will continue my interest in the series. Next we have 4 volumes of Dragons Rioting, volume 5, 7, 8 and 9. So this is a 9-volume series. I am now only missing 1 volume, and I think it's volume 3? Yeah, it's volume 3, which is a remarkably hard volume to find. Someone did say they found a volume on eBay with another bundle, and I just completely forgot to reach out to them, and I haven't gone back to see if it's still up there. I don't know if this is a series that's out of print. I say that scarily. But it is definitely way harder to find. These were just 4 volumes that were at Forbidden Planet, but they've also been on the shelves at Forbidden Planet for quite a long while now, because every time I go in I'm like, should I pick them up? Shall I? Maybe? This time? Should I pick them up? I'll pick them up. I'll pick them up this time. This time I'll pick them up. Everyone's Getting Married Volume 8. I think I'm missing like 2 volumes of this and then I'll be complete. I think it's 9 volumes. You can tell that this has been on the shelves at Traveling Man for a while because it has a way old 3 for 2 sticker. I read the first 2 volumes and I thought it was very okay. Didn't like jump out at me. I thought it was okay. And I've heard mixed feelings from other people about the series, about whether or not they really enjoyed it or not. So I'm going to hold off till I get the last 2 volumes and then again read through it all together. Next we have Failure Frame. I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low level spells. Volume 4. So I can't actually read this yet, it's very sad. I've noticed that sometimes my Forbidden Planet in Leeds, they just don't get certain volumes in at all. There's odd volumes from my Isekai series. Actually, I can't remember if this is an Isekai or not. Anyway, there's odd volumes, especially 7 Seas, which they just don't get in, and I end up with a gap in my series and it's very annoying. So I don't have volume 3 of this. They have not stocked volume 3. I go frequent enough that unless they got 1 volume and someone grabbed that 1 volume, they have not stocked it. Or maybe someone grabbed it. Maybe someone took my volume. It's getting a bit dark, so I've brought another lamp over. Hopefully it doesn't get too stroby or anything. Okay, next we have Farming Life in Another World Volume 6. I can't believe this is still printing. I really liked volumes 1 and 2, and then I think I read volume 3 and it was like one of the hardest reads I'd ever done because it was just so boring. I do really like when they do these like top down, how the village farm is expanding. That's probably my favourite bit still in the series. It gives me like aggressive Harvest Moon vibes, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend this one. Next we have Fiancé the Wizard Volume 4. Final volume in the series. Goddamn, it took literally months. Another volume that just never stocked in Forbidden Planet. I ended up getting this from Books Please. Actually cheaper than if I bought it in Forbidden Planet, so I'm not too upset. This is an isekai, it's a romance. I'd actually quite enjoy this volume. I liked how the series ended up and sort of wrapped up. I liked all the drama at the end. I didn't like that a 4-volume series was split into 2 2-volume arcs. It felt just a bit compact, a bit rushed. I'd rather they chose 1 arc and did that for the whole series. It was still a fun read and I would recommend this if you're interested in a shorter romance isekai. Next we have 4 volumes of Final Fantasy Type 0 side story, The Ice Reaper, volumes 2, 3, 4 and 5. Again, a series that I don't think I picked up all 4 volumes in one go. Actually, I think my partner bought all of these. He is a big Final Fantasy fan and he hadn't realised that there's a one-shot volume called Type 0. He didn't realise that there was sort of a side story to that which was 5 volumes long. I think it's complete of 5 volumes. Yeah. So we ended up starting to pick these up. He does keep forgetting they're there, so when he makes his manga stack of what he's going to read for the week, he keeps forgetting to put volumes of this in. I hope when he watches this that this will remind him to add a volume of this to his stack this week. They're already teetering and I'm like, oh, not even halfway through. Next we have Fly Me to the Moon 12. I have been staying up to date with picking this up, but I haven't managed to stay up to date with reading it. I'm, I think, up to volume 6 or 7. It's a very chill slice of life series. Not a huge amount happens. It's just a couple sort of navigating newly married life, but also they didn't know each other before they got married, so they're like getting to know each other as well, but they're already both head over heels in love with each other. Yeah, that's very strange. Very chill, very calm. Recommend if that's the sort of thing you're looking for. Next we have Fruits Basket Volume 4. I picked this up at Traveling Man for, I think it was discounted. It was on the sale shelf because they've got a sale shelf now. Actually, a few Traveling Mans have sale shelves. Maybe I just hadn't found the one in Leeds yet. I've been picking this series up so slowly because it's so expensive. Generally, I prefer singles over omnis, but I apparently rainbow spines trump that for me. So I think with this one I have 5 of the collector's edition. Yeah, I have 5, so I'm not even halfway through collecting it yet. Next I have A Galaxy Next Door Volume 2. Volume 1 was very strange. I wonder what will happen in Volume 2. This guy is a manga artist and he hires this girl to be his assistant. It turns out she's a strange princess and with a with a stinger and she stings him accidentally, and now it means they're married or they're engaged. Very, very strange. Next we have Game Between the Suits Volume 1. I don't really have too much to say about this one because I did a sort of more in-depth talk about it in one of my videos recently, where I read a whole bunch of volume 1s and talked about whether or not I thought you should read them or not, and this was one of the ones I talked about. TLDR, didn't like it, don't like any of the characters. There you go. Geek X Hitman Volume 1. This is kinda like Sakamoto Days, except instead of leaving it because he's got a family, he's left being assassin because he's become an otaku. He now lives in Japan and is a big part of otaku culture, and some assassins have been sent after him and he beats them up, and then they kind of join in his otaku culture, kind of just like in Sakamoto Days. This one's definitely a bit more serious, even though it's also both really much more serious and much less serious, because of like the otaku culture side just is hard to take serious in the context of big, angry, aggressive assassin. I thought it was distinctly okay. I found it really hard to get into for like the first 3/4 of the volume, and then like I really enjoyed the last chapter or two. It was the setup. I think I just found the setup really dull, but like once they got into the swing of things, I enjoyed it more. Okay, we are on the third stack. That is 3 out of 5. On top, and I don't actually know how to pronounce this, Gunburied. I don't know, I thought it was buried, but there isn't an I. Gunbird Cities? Sisters, oh Christ. Volume 1, I don't know anything about this. I just was like, I fancy picking up another plastic wrap manga, and I grabbed this one. Ooh, something to do with vampires. It looks like it's 2 women. I hope it's a better vampire GL than Scarlet was. That was like properly shit. Okay, next we've got Heaven's Design Team Volume 7. I love Heaven's Design Team, but I've not read this volume yet. As much as I love this series, it is not a series I feel I'm able to binge. I did try to binge it, and it just like burnt me out. I feel like I couldn't binge a Cells at Work series either. There's probably just too much information. I really like the description on the back, which is does for zoology what Cells at Work does for human biology. It's exactly that. You learn a whole bunch about animals and their biology in every chapter, and you learn why animals are the way they are, and also like how some animals work. Like there was a whole bit about how owls work that was really interesting, and what their diet is and why their diet is like that. So I might actually just put this straight into my basket after this, so I don't forget to read it again. I think there's a few volumes like that in here where I've forgotten I've not read them, and they need to go straight into my basket. Next we have The Hero Life of a Self-Proclaimed Mediocre Demon Volume 5. I can't believe how many volumes there are of this series. It was so strange. It was a very much... So it's not an isekai, it's just a fantasy, but there's so much weird like slavery and chains, and it's kind of okay because like the guy who has the slaves is a nice person, right? Saying that, I am not up to date with reading this anyway. Maybe it changes, maybe like they cast off the chains and stuff. I don't think they do though, considering there are lots of chains on the cover of this volume. Next we have His Majesty the Demon King's Housekeeper Volume 1. This is another series that I talked about in my Should You Try This series. So if you want a more detailed discussion on my thoughts on this volume, go check that video out. TLDR, it wasn't quite what I hoped for. I found it a little dull. I hoped for, I think, a more mature sort of romance. I hadn't realised how young the main character was. I unfairly was kind of hoping it would be my next Saviour's Book Cafe for no particular reason, I think. So now that I know what it's about, I'm hoping I'll be able to go into later volumes enjoying it a bit more. Holy Grail of Eris Volume 2. I have not read volumes 1 or 2 yet, so I'm sorry. I can't really say anything about the series yet. Next we have I Was Reincarnated as the 7th Prince So I Can Take My Time Perfecting My Magical Ability Volume 1. I quite enjoyed this one. He's reincarnated into the same world that he originally died in, so isekai, not as much as just a regular reincarnation. He is very overpowered though. He has access to lots of books and he learns lots, and my worry with series like this though is after the first volume where you've read it and you've enjoyed the gimmick, it gets a bit boring and repetitive. I hope it doesn't do that. A lot of the characters look way younger than they say they are, and way more boobage on younger looking characters than you would hope for. In Another World with my smartphone, volume 6. I think I've only read up to volume 3 now, and Rainbow Spines. This is as dumb a series as it sounds. My partner's watched the anime and I've started buying him light novels for Christmas. So I'm hoping I'll read the manga and he'll read the light novels and we can compare notes and see how much it differs from the anime. So far, I was kind of enjoying it. Volume 1 was quite slow to get through, but it did pick up reading volumes 2 and 3. I've been killing slimes 300 years and maxed out my level volume 9. I haven't actually really read much of the series since about volume 5 or 6. I did start to find the series was getting a bit dull for me. My partner is still reading the series. I'm not sure if he's read volume 9 though. Again, put this on your stack on Friday if you haven't. I should really ask him if it picks up again. I have also started picking him the light novels as well. Next we have volume 5 of JoJo Part 5 Golden Wind. Oh, Part 5 Volume 5. Oh. I am very much trying to stay up to date with the series, even though I haven't read past... I've read the first volume or 2 of Part 1, then just spent ages trying to find volumes, and now I'm up to date, and now I'm daunted at how much there is to read. I will get there one day. It might be a series that I try and pick up over Christmas, because I have most of Christmas on annual leave. I might try and binge through JoJo. That actually sounds really good. Next we have Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 17. Actually, maybe I'll try and blitz through Jujutsu Kaisen. It's another series where I'm now daunted by how many volumes I have. I might just try and read some of them, move on to something else, and then come back and read some of them. I've read up to 3 or 4, though I saw, I think, someone saying that an arc wraps up at the end of volume 18, so maybe I'll wait till I have 18 and then I read some more. I don't know. As we have Kaguya-sama volume 23. This series is now complete. I can't remember how many volumes, it's like 27, 28 or something. So we're not that far away, which is so sad because I've been reading this series for so many years. I do feel like the series dipped a bit a few volumes ago, but it's been picking back up, and this volume reminded me a lot of what I enjoyed about the series at the start. I'm happy it's got its spark back, but I'm also sad that it means it's now reaching towards its ending. Oh. Next we have Kaiji number 8 volume 3. Very much enjoy Kaiji number 8. Everyone seems to be enjoying Kaiji number 8. I love the main character. I love how ditzy he is and silly, and he's like, what the hell's happening to me? Also, look at the nice bright rainbow covers, and I know volume 4 is a gorgeous purple. It took me so long to get this volume. It was like, I know that I went to Travelling Man and they didn't have it, and then on their social media they posted they had it the next day, and I was like, I can't get back for another month. Very upsetting. They've probably now got volume 4, but I'm not going for another couple of weeks anyway. Next we have Kirby Manga Mania volume 5. I wonder how long this is going to keep going for. I thought it was going to stop at 3 volumes, and then it kind of sounds like they just keep printing more. And it says volume 6 coming soon, and also there were 25 volumes originally. At this point, are they just going to print all 25 volumes? Just all the chapters are out of order. I kind of wish they'd printed more of the Mario manga. They only did a one-shot of that with a collection of chapters, and then maybe that one did really well, and they did the Kirby, and then the Kirby did really well, so they just kept printing it. Maybe they'll go back and do more Mario. I would kill for a Mario Sunshine manga volume. Komi Can't Communicate volume 20! So most of this volume focused on the gang going skiing, like a couple hours or a few hours away from home, and that was quite fun to read. Then some accident meant that a couple of characters had to stay behind because they missed the coach, I think, and they ended up sharing a bed, and yeah, things were said. I'm hoping a couple of things are going to happen now in the next volume, or at least the volume after. Anyway, it's just always wonderful to read a Komi volume. Next we have Kowloon Generic Romance Volume 1. I actually forgot I had this on my shelves. It's kind of at a bottom shelf at the moment, so I might pull this one out and leave it out so I don't forget about it when I want to fill my basket next time. Here, a lot of people really enjoyed it, and there's something about a twist towards the ending, but I don't know what it is yet. Same author as After the Rain, which is another series that I'm wanting to pick up soon at some point. Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible Volume 2. So I've not read this yet. Again, I forgot, and then I've also picked up Volume 3. So I need to try and read Volumes 2 and 3. Very light-hearted, sweet high school comedy romance. It was just quite a nice, lovely read. Nothing too arduous. I think the art's quite nice too. Next we've got Love and Heart Volume 5. I really like Love and Heart because it is a packed to the brim filled with drama, romance, it's aggressive, and there's mystery, and we've learnt some new things about our characters. This guy is still a terrible person, and she's like all up in him, and he's all up in her, and just yeah. I was both interested and surprised that this volume was plastic wrapped, considering none of the others had been. Yeah, this is like filled with coercion, deception, all of that jazz, but I really enjoy it. Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess and the Genius Young Lady, Volume 2. Volume 1 was surprisingly lighthearted. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I haven't read Volume 2 yet, but it is a series I would recommend if you're looking for like is it GL? Female friends, at least, cast isekai. I can't remember if it's GL or not. Next we have The Misfit of Demon King Academy. History's strongest demon king reincarnates and goes to school with his descendants. Volume 4. So I can't see anything about it in the volume, but I have an inkling, even though the story isn't complete, this might be the last manga volume due to the unfortunate death of the manga artist. Could be wrong, but I do think that's the case. I haven't read Volume 4 yet. I found Volume 3 quite dull when I think when I read it. It's like a year and a half between releases. I'm trying to like grasp at straws at what was happening. It's another reincarnated into the same world just thousands of years later, and he attends a school which is like named after him from when he was around thousands of years ago. It's an okay power fantasy. I do think there are better ones though. Next we got Momo Bloodtaker? Momo the Bloodtaker? Yeah, Volume 1. I was really drawn to the spine. I thought the spine was really pretty and also it feels really nice. I like a smaller book that's kind of chunky. I haven't read it yet, but I've seen mostly positive things across Instagram. I haven't really seen, I'm trying to think if I've seen anyone on YouTube pick it up. Apparently quite a dark series, but I'm looking forward to reading that. Final volume on this stack is Monotone Blue. This is a one-shot. So all the characters in this are animals, and they're sort of anthropomorphic because they've kind of got humanish bodies and then animal heads, but also they might be covered in fur or have a tail or scales or something like that. And it's about these two characters becoming friends, unlikely friends, and kind of spending time together and then being good friends and then a bit more, maybe? I found it quite some spoilers. I mean, it's a one-shot volume. It's hard to, because in my head, like, volume 1s are always fair game. Talk about what you want because you need to grow a series. But if it's a one-shot, that's not just talking about the series, that's also spoiling the entire series. So I'm gonna spoil it a bit. I did actually find it quite a sad read because there's quite a lot of bullying and just not being nice and lack of communication. So I did enjoy it, but it also made me sad at the same time. Okay, so we are on the 4th stack of 5. On top we have Months Taboo Volume 1, another plastic wrap volume that I have not read. I picked this up in Leeds because the last time I was in London I kept seeing it, like in every store I went to they had this volume, and I was like, I saw it in Leeds and I was like, I've got to pick it up. They keep shoving it in my face. I really hope it's good. Next we have Moon and Sun Volume 1. This is a BL series. I'd seen a few people on Instagram pick it up. I've read the blurb and I'm like, what? Is one good spanking all it will take to put the heir apparent on the right path in life and love? Moriarty Volume 8, another volume that I forgot I had not read. It is a true first world problem. So this is going to go straight into the basket. Volume 9 is out as well, I think, and I've 2 to read really quickly. Very much enjoy the series. I really like Sherlock Holmes. I like all the characters in Sherlock Holmes. Hopefully I'm not showing spoilers or anything. I also really like the colours of the spines. Next we have Multi-Mind Mayhem Isekai Tensei Sudoku Volume 4. This is published by One Piece Books. It is a $12.99 series, which makes me sad. So I might start trying to pick these up on Blackwell's. It's kind of an isekai. It's like two different people have been isekai'd into the mind of a baby in another world. So there's kind of like three consciousnesses in one body. One of them is the kid, one of them is an old like samurai warrior guy, and the other is a school kid from Japan. It's quite interesting. It's very silly. My Happy Marriage Volume 1. I really enjoyed My Happy Marriage. It's about a girl, this woman who was the result of an arranged marriage. Unfortunately, her mother passes away and her dad marries the woman that he originally wanted to marry all those years ago. They have a daughter together, and then they kind of just shun her because the dad's like, this is the family I really truly wanted originally. She's useless, she doesn't have skills that it was hoped she would gain from being a child of this arranged marriage. But she's now kind of been sold off to this guy. She's just like, please don't kick me out. She's so nice, she's so humble, she doesn't like talk badly, she doesn't talk about the issues she had at home, why she's the way she is. She's had a noble upbringing. She lives more like a servant, she repairs her own clothes, she does her own cooking and cleaning and stuff, and her husband-to-be now, as part of this arranged marriage, is like trying to do things a bit nicer for her, and I quite like it. I'm very sad that Volume 2 doesn't come out until January in the UK, manga-wise. I know there's a light novel as well. My Hero Academia Volume 31. So this volume wraps up pretty much the ongoing arc that had been going on, quite a big one. I think my main problem with My Hero Academia was I really liked My Hero Academia when they were in the school and they were just school kids. It's just gotten way bigger than that. It's now this huge, like, villains destroying society. What does it mean to be a part of society? Are heroes accountable and that sort of thing? Whereas I think I'd have just generally enjoyed the series more if they stuck to the kids being in school. Maybe more towards the end done stuff like worldwide, that sort of thing. But it's almost like it wasn't that far into the series that they did jump into that. I do enjoy it. I enjoy fighty, punchy shonen as much as the next person, but I think I'd have enjoyed it more if it'd done that. My Isekai Life, I gained a second character class and became the strongest sage in the world, Volume 2. Trying to remember what happened in this one because I actually read Volume 3 a couple of days ago. This is another Isekai where he has been reincarnated into the world. He's very OP and has an army of slimes. I actually mentioned it earlier. I didn't realise there was a volume in this stack. I do enjoy this one because we're already getting some background into the world and why he's been summoned and what he's been summoned for, which I think a lot of the isekai just kind of like really skim over unless you're getting towards endgame. But even then, I don't think many of them do. Okay, next we have My Love Mix-Up Volume 4. I am now a couple of volumes behind reading this series. I think I've read I've read volumes 1 and 2, and then I learned that it was complete, I think, at 9 volumes, so I'll hold off and read them all together. That's my general preference when reading romance series, mainly because I'm really bad at remembering names, and often in slice of life romance series, a number of the characters can look fairly similar to each other, and if I'm not reading it quickly, I won't remember names or who's who at all. So I quite like series that really like exaggerate features and hair and clothes and stuff, because it makes it a lot easier for me to figure out and remember who's who's, because I'm just appalling with names. So yeah, I'm gonna hold off till they're all released and then read the rest, I think. Next we have Nana Volume 1. I did always say I was not interested in picking up Nana unless I saw it on shelves. And guess what? I saw it on the shelf. I picked this up for 3 for 2. Very, very happy with this. I had started to think that it wouldn't ever reach stores in the UK. Apparently, when I was paying, they said that it had taken them months to pick up or something. I'm, again, not too surprised. Everything seems to take longer to ship over to the UK. I have high hopes for being able to pick up the rest of the volumes now, because Volume 1 restocked like 6-7 months ago in the US. And so I'll just assume it'll take about that month time for the volumes to filter through to the UK, which I'm fine with. I'm not in a particular rush. It would be lovely to try and read the series if I can, based on everything I've heard, but it'll just take time. I also find it interesting that this is a series that a lot of people assume is a josei because of its themes, but it is actually a shoujo. Next we've got Now Loading. It is a one-shot GL based in a video game company, which very much appeals to me. I'm hoping it's going to give me new game vibes. I'm really interested in the fact that it's a one-shot. I picked this up second hand, I think. I can't remember where from. It would probably been World of Books. So I only picked, it was only like £5 maybe. Next we have One Piece 100. A Komi and a One Piece in the same month. I was truly having just the best time. I cannot believe we hit 100. I remember reading like volume 63 in one of the SBS corners, and it was like, I can't imagine it going on that much longer. So yeah, it did. So whenever he says like, oh, I think we're approaching the end, oh, final arc, final bit, final section, I don't know, I don't trust him anymore because he said it like so many times. I love how rainbowy the cover is. I love that we've got Luffy front and center with his big smile. 100 volumes. My next longest series is probably Case Closed. I think in Japan, Case Closed is over 100 volumes, but in English I think 84 was just released. I don't have 84 yet though, so that's still got a bit of time to catch up, but that'll probably also go over 100. I can't think of any other series that are even gonna come close. Okay, next we've got volumes 1 and 2 of The Otherworld's Books Depend on the Bean Counter. Yeah, volumes 1 and 2. I really like the shade of grey on these volumes. And normally, I know it's like, you really like colour. I know, I do love colour, but this is just a really nice shade of grey. And I like that they've like accented it with a colour, so this pink and this blue. This had been on my want to pick up list for actually a good like year or so. When I added it to my list originally, I hadn't realised that it didn't have an English print, but I left it on there so I didn't forget. And then I saw English releases, and then they seemed to release 1 and 2 at the same time, unless that was just a UK thing, I don't know. I haven't read them yet, but I really can't wait to. I'm very excited. It's meant to be a BL isekai. Next we have Otherworldly Izakaya Noba Volume 4, also pick it up second hand. I really like this series, but I really dislike how expensive it is. It is Udon Entertainment, and they're generally priced at $13.99, and I very rarely see them cheaper than £10 a volume. If I buy them second hand, I can get them for about £5-6, but it's so sporadic when they do appear. I do now have 1 to 4, which is really nice. Or do I have 1 to 5? I might have 1 to 5. It's just kind of a isekai. It's like an izakaya that has 2 doors. One goes to Japan and one goes to this like fantasy village, and it's like a meat and potato kind of village, and they come in here and they eat all this like wonderful food that they're not used to, like fresh fish and vegetables and deep fried stuff on tap. They don't understand that on tap is like just the beer that's on tap. They think on tap is like the name of the drink, so everyone's asking for on taps. It's so adorable. And also food, it's lovely. I just love this series so much. I would recommend, but it's quite pricey, so I'd recommend if you don't mind the price. It's getting a bit scary now. Next we have Overlord, The Undead King O, Volume 7. So this was a bit disappointing when it arrived. This was I ordered on Blackwell's. On Blackwell's, it just said Overlord 7, and I was like, oh great, I'm missing Overlord 7 by now. It didn't say that it was the Undead, which is the spin-off series. Looking back, the picture of the volume was this one. It just didn't have the full title, which I think's okay. I should have probably looked in more detail. So I was super confused. Thankfully, I don't actually have the volume. It's just, this is now the only volume of the series I have. Next, we've got Penguin and House Volume 3. I really love Penguin and House. It's just my kind of humour. I actually got my partner to read Volume 1 and he hated it. He hated how much the guy took the penguin for granted. Like, he got really upset about it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's a comedy, but okay, fair enough. So I didn't get him to read any more of the volumes. It's just a very silly slice of life about a guy who lives with a penguin, and the penguin it's just really great. The penguin gives me like, haven't you heard Sakamoto vibes? Except he's a penguin. Next we have Persona 5 Mementos Mission Volume 1. This is is it like a spin-off? I've not actually read this one yet. So I know Persona 5 is being printed by Viz, which was, in hindsight, a bit confusing because both Persona 3 and Persona 4 are printed by Udon Entertainment, and then Persona 5 was printed by Viz, and then they've also printed this. Is it just like their own take? I suppose I'll find out when I read it. I do think this is also complete, but I can't remember how many volumes. That was a really shit review. Next we've got volumes 7 and 8 of Prison School. These were both bought secondhand for about £6 each, which is so good. I am now only 2 volumes away from being complete on the series. It is a bit hard to track down some of the volumes, particularly, what am I missing? I think I'm missing like 10 and 14, or I might be missing, I'm not sure. I think I'm missing only a couple of volumes though. And then I'll be complete. This is like the epitome of an ecchi series. I just flipped to something very suggestive. I've only read the first Omni, and then I started to have some trouble tracking them down, so I held off again. If I'm only 2 away, I might put a bit more effort into finding those and then just... Next we have Radiant Volume 15. I picked this up to make a 3 for 2. I believe this is the latest release in the series, but I am missing a few volumes in the lead up to this, so I can't get to it yet. I've read the first few and I've enjoyed it. Actually, a Manfra. It's a French guy. My voice is starting to give out on me and we've still got a full stack, so I'm starting to go a little quicker. I do apologise. Next we have Ragnar Crimson Volume 6, a series I haven't started reading yet, but I am staying up to date, though that price tag is upsetting to see. Next we have Reign of the Seven Spellblades Volume 3. I picked this up on Books Please for about £6. I read Volume 1, really enjoyed it. Volume 2 was on Books Please, but it wasn't discounted enough. It was like retail price, with even 10% off, that's not good. This one was good, so I grabbed this one. They're like really sturdy volumes. I don't want you to read them. Next we have Rent a Girlfriend 13. I haven't read this one yet either. As I said previously, I'm not reading this for the story anymore. I'm reading this because I really like the outfits on the girls. I think they're really lovely to look at. Great artwork for the outfits. Otherwise, this series is like nothing's happening, and my understanding is nothing happens even in like 10 volumes time. I don't understand how it's still going. Final volume on this stack is Rooster Fighter Volume 1, another series that I talked about in my should you or should you not read this series. So again, for a more detailed discussion, go check that video out. TLDR, really loved it, really dumb. It's One Punch Man but with a really grumpy rooster. Next we have Sakamoto Days Volume 3, another one I've realised I've not read, and I think Volume 4 is out really soon, so I'll probably put this in my basket. Very funny. Guy retires from assassinating to raise a family and gets a bit chubby, and then all the assassins coming after him, and he's putting a stop to that to have family time. That's the story. Scattering His Virgin Bloom Volume 2. This is as explicit as it sounds. This is only 2 volumes long. It is another Omegaverse series. I kinda liked Volume 2. I didn't enjoy Volume 1. I was like, what the hell is this? I kinda liked Volume 2. I don't know why. There were some very questionable points in the first volume, which is probably what I was put off by. I was a bit more interested in Volume 2, I don't know why. See you tomorrow at the food court. This is a one-shot and another volume I talked about in my should you try this series or not. TLDR, very much enjoyed it. Very heartwarming, very sweet. Actually wouldn't argue to getting more volumes or chapters. So Wrath of the End Volume 24. I still not like gotten myself to read Wrath of the End after my anguish and anger that I feel at the series. But they are releasing new volumes quite a lot. Like, I swear it took ages for a volume to come out, like 23 was it? And now they're spitting a volume out like monthly from what I can see. Or maybe just the UK have had a backup of orders. Ooh, includes free mini poster. There we go, mini poster. Next we have Shangri-La Frontier Volume 1. I really like this one as well. It is an isekai into a video game, so like it can come and go from the video game, I think. It's about a guy who loves playing trash games, like awful games that are buggy and broken, and he's convinced to actually try a really good game, which is called Shangri-La Frontier. And he's playing it and he's really enjoying it and he's getting really into it. Yeah, it's him playing the game, and I really liked it. And he wears this like bird mask to cover his face. I think That's why he did it. Would definitely recommend this one if you're interested in isekai and you like, say, like Sword Art Online. A bit less drama, a bit more chill. Next we have Silver Spoon Volume 4. I have been putting off picking these up in Forbidden Planet because even at 3 for 2 it's still $13.99. But I did have a few $13.99, so I grabbed it to make up a 3 for 2. I read Volume 1 and I really liked it. It was like proper farming, like real farming, not Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley farming. But it is really hard to find the volumes now. I've got about 7 or 8 of them, but there's 15, so I'm like just about halfway. I probably have a while to go till I have the rest. Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle 18. I really love this series, so why I'm not up to date with reading it, I don't know. I'm like 8 or 9 volumes in, so I'm only halfway through. It's just super dumb, and I love the princess so much. And it's another series that my partner read the first volume of, and he didn't like it because he didn't like the princess because she's just a big meanie. And I'm like, oh my god, you're damn it. Look at the little teddy demon. Oh. Next we have So Cute It Hurts Volume 1. I picked this up secondhand, and goddamn, I've had Volume 2 on my shelves like a year and a half now. Finally, I have Volume 1, so I could start reading it if I want. I mean, out of like 13, 14 volumes in the series, I have like 4, so I can't get particularly far because I mean they're not even in order. Otherwise, actually no, I have 1, 2, 3. I read 3 volumes. Nice to see if I can grab some more of these at some point. Sama Spider So What Volume 11. So this is one of my favorite isekai. It's in my top 10 series list. Like, forget isekai, just in my top 10 series list. I really love this. It's got a cat hair on it. We had some big changes in this volume. Some big changes, and it's gonna mean the whole series is now like moving into, it's like a fresh new arc. I loved the first arc, and I really hope I love this arc too. Next we have 2 volumes of Spice and Wolf, Volume 12 and Volume 9. I really love the spines for Spice and Wolf, probably my favourite spines in my collection. I can't believe the Volume 9 and 12 are like the same colour though, goodness me. I got these both on Amazon. They were both randomly discounted. I think one was like £4 something, and it was next day Amazon Prime. I don't know, sometimes they just do that on random volumes. These have been quite hard to find. I think I'm only missing 3 volumes now, and it's like 13, 14, 15, which is some of the hardest volumes to find, but at least it's only 3. I wonder why they're plastic wrapped. Next we've got The Strongest Sage with the Weakest Crest Volume 8, and I believe this means I'm up to date unless 9 snuck out in the last month or so. Another series where he does reincarnate but into the same world, so it's not really an isekai. During his reincarnation, the world's gotten really weak and doesn't understand how magic and powers seem to work anymore, so he's got all this knowledge that he can like exploit. I think I'm about 3 or 4 volumes in. It was another one where I loved it at the beginning and then it kind of peaked and now it's fine. It's very fine. So I wonder if it'll stay like that. Next we got Summertime Rendering Volume 4. I got this on Books Please for about £11 something, I think. Very much upset that Summertime Rendering seems to, the first 3 volumes RRP around like $17.99, and then 456 retail around $22.99, which is really expensive. I have now ordered volume 3 and that should arrive in the next week or so, so I'm only missing 5 and 6. I have actually quite enjoyed it. It is technically horror, and I'm not normally big on horror. I've been okay with this one. To me, it's been less horror and more mystery. Yeah, mystery. That time I got Reincarnated as a Slime Volume 19. Love the series. This is also one that's in my top 10 series. It was like the one that I was like, okay, so this is what an isekai is. We've kind of wrapped up an arc in this volume, and for stuff that I knew coming ahead in the story, this is the limit. I don't know anything else at all post this. I am hoping that this might have been the arc that means I can now read at least one of the spin-off series. I need to go check because I did actually find somewhere online that was like, you can read this spin-off series after this arc. I need to go and track that down and see what it said. To Save the World, Can You Wake Up the Morning After with a Demi-Human Volume 4? It is as degenerate as it sounds. I am missing volumes 2 and 3. I need to go and find those. Oh my goodness. With thirsty vixens on either side, nowhere to run. What? Toilet Bound, Hanako-kun, Volume 15. I'm not sure how I feel about this volume. This volume, like, it's all spoilers. It kind of wraps up an arc, but also there are implications from the wrap up of the arc that have like carried across, and now they're trying to solve and fix some of those things. The ending's a bit weird though, so I'm waiting for 16 to appear again somewhere in store so I can pick that up and find out what the hell's going on. Next we got Tokyo Revengers Omni 2, so volumes 3 to 4. Got this on Books Please for about £10. How thick that is. I know there've been complaints around paper quality, the Barnes & Noble exclusive version and then another version, but I mean, we don't get the Barnes & Noble exclusive version in the UK, so I've not noticed. I do need to start reading this too. Apparently the beginning especially is really good. It does take a dip at some point, but it's like 20 plus volumes in or something. So I've got a while to go. Oh, it's so hard to flick through when it's so big. Next we've got Twin Star Axis volume 25. Trying to stay up to date with the series, though I do have a few missing volumes in the middle that I'm still waiting to try and find. Then I'll be able to read through it all. Quite a few Shonen Jump series where I'm missing like 3 or 4 volumes and then I'll be up to date and I just can't for the life of me find them. Next we have One Dance volume 1. I had been interested in picking this up for a while and it was just, I could only find it in places that charged retail prices. Then I found it on Books Please for a bit cheaper than 3 for 2 and I was very happy I held off. I believe it is a series about dancing. Instagram seems to really like it. I haven't read it yet. I think volume 2 is out soon, if not already, but I just can imagine it's going to take a while to come to the UK. Way of the House Husband volume 8. Still enjoy Way of the House Husband. I know some people have said that it's getting a bit boring for them. It's kind of just the same thing. I think there's enough gap between the volumes that I'm quite happy with it being quite similar. If I was reading a volume every month or every other month even, I think I would probably start to get a bit bored with it, but it's a lot less common than that and I'm still enjoying it. Next we have Welcome Back Alice volume 3. Still not read volumes 1 and 2 yet. I've heard some mixed feelings around the series now. There's always the ones where I'm like, I'll just keep up to date and not start it yet, and it's like, oh, there's all these problems. I mean, I'll still read it. Nothing tends to really stop me from reading it. I've been enjoying the like blue gradients on the spines though. Also, it's a very nice cover. Okay, next we have Yakuza Moon, the manga edition, the true story of a gangster's daughter. I believe this is a one-shot. It was in the manga section in Forbidden Planet and I believe it was plastic wrapped. I did open it with the intention of reading it and then I didn't, which is super naughty. And it's got like a little cover. It sounded quite interesting and also it was only $11.99, which I often find series like this usually are more than that, even more than $13.99 sometimes, but yeah, Kodansha. $11.99. Final volume in the haul is Som 100 volume 7. Another volume I've still not gotten around to read. September in general was a month. I didn't read that much in September for my standards. Usually I read over half of what I picked up. I think I barely read like 20-30 volumes in September, which is very unusual. A mixture of just tired, busy, unwell, and I just didn't have the time. I've managed to read a bit more in October, but it's just, I've not managed to catch up yet. I know a lot of people have been thinking of dropping this series because it's getting boring. I don't really like zombies all that much, and you're like, why did you buy a manga series around zombies? It was the like Rainbow Spines, okay? The Rainbow Spines drew me in. And at this point, I now need to keep reading so I can see a conclusion. I need to see it all wrap up. Better or for worse, I don't care. I just need to see it conclude. Oh my god. There we go. We are done. Look at all that manga behind me. I'm so tired. My throat is dead. Yes, I hope you found that interesting and you enjoyed it. Do let me know in the comments what you thought. What do you think of what I picked up? What did you think of my thoughts of what I picked up? And if you haven't already, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for lots of manga content. Do need to film the October haul. The October haul is not going to be anywhere near as big. I'm not even sure it's going to be half the size of this one. It's going to be a lot more calm and kind on my throat. I can't believe neither of the cats like bombarded me while we were doing that. They have slept the entire time. They are both now over there asleep. Just as I say that, one of them starts walking towards me, didn't you? Yes, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have the most wonderful day and I will see you next time. Bye!